The second weekend of the 2023 Great Push has just concluded, and NA's Last Hope beat out Legendary and Last Moment for a spot in the Global Finals. All three of these teams had the same key levels done at the end of the weekend, with one exception. NA's Last Hope found a way to make a 30 Freehold look easy compared to what every other team thought it would be. Let's delve into this key and see what it took to pull this off. The affixes NA's Last Hope had to deal with were Tyrannical, Entangling, and Bursting. Tyrannical is the most dangerous affix of note. The bosses in this dungeon already heard, and this not only makes their abilities more dangerous, but keeps you in combat with them for a significantly longer period of time. Right at the start of the dungeon, we can see the optimization start off instantly. Goop, instead of using an invisibility potion, opts to sit back and wait until his team is past the first pack of mobs. Once ready, he uses his Wernstone to teleport to his teammates. While this may not seem like a huge deal, he used to save his potion for a more important pull. And remember, with Augmentation Evoker, his main stat is your main stat. The first pull of the dungeon has become quite standard throughout the last couple of weekends. This double Enforcer pull with an additional 4-pack from earlier on. The most important mechanic to look out for here is the Enforcer's Shattering Bellow. Each of these, unmitigated, can do 70% or more of each player's HP. Personals and group damage reduction cooldowns are used to mitigate most of the danger. The next pull is a Junkrat special. While the 3-packs at the start of the dungeon is a relatively standard pull for any Freehold run, Junkrat, in his time tanking for the team back in BFA, likes to add an extra pack to the mix. Dorki follows through with this and adds a little extra difficulty to the pull. Consolidation of the pulls in this dungeon is key to making a key of this level possible, and these extra additions save a lot of time if you can pull it off. Afterwards, it's time to engage the first boss of the dungeon, Skycap'n Kragg. They've saved Bloodlust for this moment. The first 25% of the boss is one of the most dangerous sections of the dungeon. After each of his charges, the boss will pistol shot random players in the group. Each of these shots can easily do 80 to 90% of a person's HP on this key level. It's up to Drogoh to make sure those health bars are topped so they don't go down to consecutive shots. Once the bosses push to 75%, the group sets up shop on the side of the room so they don't have to worry about dodging the dive bombs, while Goop shifts his positioning around to make sure void zones aren't baited on top of the boss. With the boss down, as well as a nifty invisibility skip from Smacked, the team moves on towards the Council of Captains. Again, the name of the game is pull consolidation. Dorki ends up pulling just about every single neutral mob in the area, in addition to a pack of trappers and rats, and all of the trash mobs in the boss room itself. There's a lot of zone denial in a pull of this size. You got Buccaneers casting their AoE around them, trappers throwing traps on the ground that you'll have to avoid, and the entire time you're dealing with a 30 Tyrannical boss on top of all of that. Eudora's powder shot on this difficulty does a ton of damage. Eudora is quickly focused on after the trash dies, and Dorki wastes no time moving along to pull 2 further trash packs in addition to a pack pulled from a nifty rescue by Goop. Fortunately, you're able to deal with these packs relatively easily by making use of the barrels the bartender is throwing at you throughout the boss fight. Catching good barrels can give you haste and crit buffs, while sometimes debuff barrels can come down dealing a good amount of damage to enemies inside them. After the boss goes down, and while the team is dealing with the remainder of the trash, solo mission. Using some nifty gliding techniques that Evoker has available to them, he flies towards the arena that the third boss, Trothak, will be active in later on. Once the RP starts, he once again uses that Wernstone to make his way back to the group. Everything in this dungeon has only been a setup to the pull that's coming up next. With Bloodlust recently available for the second time, Dorki doubles back and pulls just about every single mob from the old RP area before the Council of Captains. Normally, this pull is completely impossible. A triple range comp having to dodge the traps as well as Sea-Spout and Duelist Stash would be nearly impossible. But once again, due to some Junkrat ingenuity, the team has found a spot that, instead of targeting the players, targets the ground underneath them, allowing them to blast away at the pack. This pull alone counts for 23% of their trash count in the dungeon. With this massive pull putting them extremely ahead of where they need to be, they can go back to relatively standard pulls in the Trothak area. Ludwig is already close to being active due to Goop's earlier skip, starting the RP, so the squad can easily pull trash packs down into the arena from around the area, cleaving them down with Ludwig. Once Trothak is active, the same is done with several of the Irontide Crushers in the area. This pull is kind of hilarious to watch with the Crushers denying so much area in the room, but once again, the triple range DPS comp only has to worry about dodging the boulder throws, while Dorki and Drogoh are the melee players that have to deal with the ground shatters. With all the trash count done, all the team has to do is make their way towards the final boss, Harlan Sweete. In a rather hilarious yet unfortunate way, Drogoh gets skewered out of Smack's Expedition Yak during a skip, instantly getting one-shot, resulting in the only death of the dungeon. While it may seem a little harsh to point this out, I think it's important to note that this is the only thing that went wrong on the key for them, and it's really not even their fault. Extremely impressive. After using Mind Soothe on the two mobs guarding the end of the bridge, Goop rescues Smacked while he's on his Expedition Yak, taking his two passengers up with him. Dorki's quick to follow, using his human form wild charge up to his teammates, and from here onwards the team has about 5.5 minutes to deal with the final boss after a quick invisibility skip on the trash that's linked to the boss. Years of experience running this dungeon and aggressively pulling has all led to this run. None of the other teams on the weekend even attempted the key on this level, let alone thought it was possible. We hope you've enjoyed this breakdown of NA's Last Hope's run of Freehold. Be sure to tune in next week for Group C, where the final 2 spots for the Grand Finals of the TGP are up for grabs. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in Azeroth.